According to Martin in 2017, a five-force analysis is used to look at five specific factors within an industry, determining whether a business can be profitable or not based on other competitors already operating. A five-force analysis is crucial for strategic decision-making as it allows the company to defend against the competitive forces and shape them in the business's favour. The threat of new entrants in the budget airline industry is low. Initial startup costs are high, and buying aircraft requires a large amount of initial capital. Regulations are strict, and airport taxes are high, meaning a lot of planning and investment is required before an airline can begin trading. There is a slight risk of pre-existing airlines branching out into the budget airline industry, as they would already have a lot of the requirements in place. However, they will need to put an effective strategic plan in place as well to be able to financially compete with those already in the budget airline industry. The bargaining power of suppliers is high. There are two main suppliers in the airline industry, the aeroplane supplier and the oil supplier. There are only two aeroplane suppliers currently operating, Boeing and Airbus. This makes the bargaining power of easyJet very low, as they are not in a position of power and therefore have no influence in negotiating prices or coming to a deal. There are a lot more airlines than aeroplane providers, therefore the aeroplane suppliers do not depend on the custom of easyJet to survive. The only slight bargaining power easyJet has is if they decide to buy several aeroplanes at once, which may result in them being able to receive a slight discount. There are a lot more airlines than aeroplane providers, therefore the aeroplane suppliers do not depend on the custom of easyJet to survive. The only slight bargaining power easyJet has is if they decide to buy several aeroplanes at once, which may result in them being able to receive a slight discount. The bargaining power of buyers is high because easyJet is not the only budget airline. If they raise their prices or face too many issues, such as cancelling flights, it is easy for customers to find the same product at another airline. It also does not cost the buyer to change the airline they use, therefore they do not need to make any investment to do so, making their bargaining power higher. The threat of substitution is relatively low, however the use of trains on short-haul routes can be an option. Train stations are normally located in city centres, compared to airports which are often on the outskirts, and overall travel time can be quicker due to avoiding airport security. However, with train fares on the rise and little competition in the industry, airlines often offer a cheaper alternative to trains, which remains the risk of substitution to be low. Competitive rivalry in the budget airline industry is high. easyJet's competitors can either be direct or indirect. Direct competitors are the other low-cost airlines that offer similar products within a similar price range. This causes competition to be very high as each airline tries to gain advantage over each other. Indirect competitors are non-budget airlines which fly similar routes, however have different key selling points and offer their products at a higher price level than easyJet and other budget airlines. They target different market segments and therefore competition is not as strong as that between easyJet and other budget airlines. By properly analysing their environment, easyJet will be able to identify the major opportunities and threats that face their company. These highlight the areas of business which will be profitable and advantageous for them to enter into, whilst warning them of possible issues which could damage or poorly affect them. easyJet currently holds 16 number one market positions across Europe, but it has identified a number of other potential markets they are looking to expand in the next 5 years. These have high passenger volumes, but no clear number one budget airline currently operating. easyJet can strengthen their position in the UK even more after the collapse of Monarch Airlines. Over 300,000 cancellations are expected as a result, which allows easyJet to expand their customer base and increase their profits. Although easyJet has some key opportunities to expand, they also need to be cautious of the potential threats to their business. The market for low-cost airlines has a limit, and with budget airlines operating new routes every year, eventually the market will become saturated. This will ultimately leave easyJet with little further room to expand. easyJet has recently faced powerful unions blocking their plans to cut staffing levels. By lowering revenue spent on wages, easyJet planned on using the money saved to help expand across Europe and compete within the budget market where they do not currently hold number one market position.
created using Powtoon.